President Trump's pick to lead Arizona has a plan to battle back against Joe Biden's open border disaster. I'm joined now by Republican Arizona gubernatorial candidate, our friend Kari Lake. Kari, welcome back.
Nice to see you, Grant. Thanks for having me on.
You know, Kari, I know you're running against Doug Ducey. I've had a lot of criticisms for him as a Republican governor. What would you do differently than he's doing right now?
Well, for starters, I would declare an invasion on our border. I can't believe it's shocking he hasn't done that yet. He's asked our AG if it is an invasion, but all you have to do is make a couple of trips down there to understand it is totally an invasion at our border, that the cartels have operational control of our border, and that they are funneling in what I believe is a weapon of mass destruction, fentanyl. You've heard it. You know, the 5.5 tons they brought in 1 year's time is enough to kill every man, woman, and child in America 7 times over. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a weapon of mass destruction to me. We've got people that are being smuggled across, children that are being trafficked. And while this is going on, when you go down there time and time again and it doesn't stop, you start to realize that the U.S. government is part of the largest human trafficking and drug trafficking and child trafficking crime against this country, because they know it's happening and they're doing nothing. And Doug Ducey's not doing enough either. So he needs to get some troops on the border, arm them, and stop them from coming over.
You know, Kari, I broadcast from Texas, and so I've watched Greg Abbott do some good things. I think he could go a little further, too. I've called for him to declare an invasion here, and it would allow then local law enforcement to actually arrest illegals and enforce border policies and immigration law on the border. Greg Abbott has yet to do that. But Greg Abbott has also started to build a wall. He's given more power to the National Guard troops on the border in Texas. The National Guard in Arizona, they're down there, but are they even doing anything? They don't appear to be doing anything. What have you seen on that front?
Well, they're down there, and Governor Ducey sent them down there in an administrative role, so they're watching and monitoring some of the monitors and the cameras and watching when people are coming in. We need to use these men and women the way they're trained, which is to put them on the border. And I think, frankly, we need other states to help out with an interstate compact to send their National Guard to help us out. I know that some of the conservative states will do so. And maybe if things get bad enough, the blue states might even help, because I don't think any Republican, Independent, or Democrat wants to see fentanyl getting into the hands of their children. And you know, when I was down there last, I picked up this little shoe, probably would fit a 3-year-old little boy. And this is just one of dozens of children's shoes that are left in the desert. This is a humanitarian crisis. It's cruel what's happening. And as long as that border is wide open, people will continue to come. I want them to know that when I'm governor in Arizona, they're going to get a loud and clear message. Do not come across the border in Arizona. You're not welcome. You'll be sent back. And we're going to finish Trump's wall so that fewer people can get across.
Yeah. Let me play a clip from you. This is from President Trump's former Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, talking about a moment when they were talking about border security and what President Trump offered up. He appeared to be laughing about this, but to me, it sounded like the president had a great idea. Listen to this exchange over the weekend.
Who suggested that we send 250,000 U.S. troops to the border?
Yeah, Stephen Miller. We're in a meeting waiting for the president to come out. We're standing around the Resolute desk. And he's behind me, and this voice just starts talking about caravans are coming, and we need to get troops to the border, and we need 250,000 troops. And I think he's joking. And then I turn around and I look at him, and he's in these deadpan eyes. It's clearly he is not joking.
Why would the president be joking?
I think it's a great idea.
We've seen what this has done. Me too, Kari Lake. A great one.
It's an excellent idea. I mean, President Trump knew it. We saw these caravans. Just send a drone up. You'll see the caravans coming with hundreds of people. And we need to put troops on the border. And I'm going to do that using our Arizona National Guard. I think the president was right on with that. We're not going to let people come in. We haven't vetted these people. I've got a list here in the southwest border in just 2021 so far. 60 murder suspects, 1,200 assault suspects, 2,200 drug suspects, more than 800 burglary suspects, 1,600 plus DUI suspects, 500 sex assault suspects. These are the people coming into our country in Arizona, and I don't care what we have to do to stop them, we're going to stop them. And I like President Trump's idea of putting boots on the ground. I bet if you asked any of our American soldiers who are currently trying to help Ukraine, whether it's in Poland or wherever they are, if they're from America, they'd probably much rather be here protecting our homeland because we have an invasion, biggest invasion on our homeland since the founding of this country.
It is an invasion. There is no doubt about it. Kari Lake, it was good to spend some time with you over the last week a little bit, and I appreciate you coming on the show as always. We'll see you again soon. Good luck in the race.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it.